just a firefighter here in Miami-Dade County who's concerned about the fact that the voting process was made harder by politicians such as Senator Miguel Diaz de la Portilla. And so I called up some people and said, hey, listen, we need to go, out in front of his office and protest this so that people know. I don't think even his constituents are aware that he went to Tallahassee and made it harder for them to vote.
We're here as former acquaintances of the Kennedy, and from that point in time, we have been trying to ensure that people have the right to vote.
As a voter in the state of Florida, we came here today to present this letter to Senator de la Portilla, who was one of the orchestrators of the 1355 bill that cut the voting days from 8 to 14.
Many Hispanics come from countries where voting is difficult, and I don't think they would appreciate him going to Tallahassee and instituting rules and putting in place things that made it harder. Voting in Florida should not be as hard as it was during the last presidential election. I worked some of the polls to try to keep the lines moving, giving out information, and there were people standing in line easily 8, 9, 10 hours to vote, and that's just outrageous. We cannot have that.
We're asking him to join others as Senator Ralston in Tampa, who this morning in the paper announced that he's trying to form a bipartisan group to bring back the 14 days, because we all knew what happened. We had citizens standing in line at 1 a.m. on election day, and during the early voting we had people as late as 2 a.m. in the morning voting on the last day.
We need people to have time to get out, to go out and vote. If they cut back the time frame for early voting from 2 weeks to 1 week, and they cut back on other things to us, they may have ID and more things to be there to vote.
Since the senator was one of the main architects in pushing House Bill 1355, which took early voting days from 14 down to 8, we have to keep the pressure on. We have to let them know, no, that's not acceptable. You have to go back and you have to change that. And so that's why I'm here today.
We're here as voters to ask our senator to join us in repealing the bill.
They delivered a letter. Then just the gist of the letter is saying to him again that we want the early voting days returned to a minimum of 14, and we're willing to work with him to get that done. Clearly, I think the majority of the community would be more than happy to work with him to get that done. And so that's basically what the letter says, that we would like early voting days returned to 14, and we're willing to work with him to make that happen.
It's hurting everybody, not just one particular group. It's hurting the United States. This is not what we're built on. We're built on for everybody to have the opportunity to go out and vote.
The senator has been ducking the media. Many media outlets have tried to speak to him because he was one of the main architects, and for whatever reason he has not responded back to them. And so we figured, you know what, we'll take our concerns to him, since we haven't heard what he had to say.
My forefather had blood, sweat, and tears for we to create this opportunity, and this is why one opportunity I would like to get out there and encourage people to go ahead and write the congressmen and write the senators, write the state representatives and say, hey, this is wrong. We as Florida is a laughing stock of the nation. We're the laughing stock of the nation because every year we have something go wrong.
I think there's a list downstairs of every House member, every Senate member that voted to eliminate or reduce the early voting days, and if it was left up to me, every one of them, we would stage a protest in front of every one of their offices, because people have to know this is what your representative went to Tallahassee to do. Everyone talks about jobs. This has nothing to do with jobs. They went to Tallahassee to make it harder to vote. It doesn't make sense. And so hopefully this is just the beginning. I would like to see out of all of this a mass demonstration in Tallahassee on the first day that they return to session, because it's about the people. This is not a Democratic, Republican, or independent issue. This is a we the people issue. It affected everybody. It may have been geared toward one group, but it affected everybody, and it's unacceptable.
This term we had over 1 million some people did register to vote. 1 million some people. That would have told you something. A bell should have rung somewhere and let people know that we need to get out, not only vote, exercise our right, and you guys that were elected in those positions should recognize what we want as the people. It's not what you want as a group or individual or whatever. It's what we want as a people of the United States, and especially Florida.
I'm a veteran and Eddie's a veteran. And we serve for everyone to have a voice. So when you deny our voice as a voter in the participation of having to do a vote without being traumatically effective as we were in Florida, something needs to change. So we're asking for that change. And we want to move forward.
The vote does not go from one party to the other. The vote goes to the individual citizen, not a consumer, a citizen. And we're going to get more citizens in South America, in Middle America, and maintain them in Liberty City as well.
Florida, wake up.
Look at that. I like that. He's a civil rights leader.